Hi, and today I'm answering your most asked questions on the internet. First thing, how should I study for this exam? Okay, exam preparation takes a lot of time. There is before the exams, during the exams, and after the exams for the next exam. What topics should I focus on the most? The most relevant topics, obviously, and the latest current issues. If there's any, the questions will be there. Is there a specific way to approach revision for the subject? Yes. For me, I need to revise everything at least 3 times for me to completely be aware of the topic. Like just once before, the night before is not working for me. I can't memorize anything, and I'd just rather sleep than read like one time and sit in the exam hall, which never works for me. Revision is kind of important, not so many times, like 3 times. Once, like just on the surface level. Second, like you have to try to memorize. And third, is like just before the exam. Like the three sequences are really important, otherwise you'll not memorize anything. And I like to revise just before, like just the morning of the exam as well. How many hours should I study per day? Okay, the actual focus period, if you read in many researches, it says like 5 to 6 hours, and it totally depends on your like what is the scenario, current scenario as well. Like if your exam is just tomorrow, you'll have the entire drive to go like throughout the day. I've studied like 12 hours continuously as well, without like any large breaks in between. But it was due to the like emergence of the situation and how important it is. What's the best method to memorize faster? Okay, I totally like to have conversations about it. For me personally, I like to have conversations about the topic that I'm studying, and like if there's a to and fro of the questioning and answering, I can memorize the concepts much faster than anything else. Like I've tried so far. And so if you don't have anyone to talk to, which is most of us, so you can just ask like a voice assistant or AI to ask you questions about the topic in detail till you understand. Like I've done it so many times, and it really helps you like get engaged. And studying like just sitting on a desk monotonously is kind of boring, and you get bored out like very quickly. So just have someone to talk to or have something to talk to, and you have to like interact. And if you're not understanding, ask it again and again. It's not a person, it doesn't judge you, and it's so much easier and so much faster to revise. Totally can recall everything that I've studied in the past, because it really helps clear your understanding. And like if there's any misunderstandings, or if you have if the material is kind of wrong somehow, then you can easily correct it like right then and there. Just and it is much better than just sitting with a paper and your notes or something, and like using internet random sources. Better than that, just ask an AI or ask somebody else and have a to and fro conversation, so it feels natural and it's not like monotonously studying, which is really boring, and it's kind of really hard to study for long hours if that is your condition. What's the most effective last minute study method? If I could not study for some reason, like I was sick or something, which has happened before, what if I have work to do, like the most last minute study method I would do is like just quick search on just the topic that I can elaborate later, memorize just the heads, like what I did in research methodology, just the topics, the inner contents not checked so thoroughly. And if you have attended the classes, you know what the topic is about, so just memorize the key topics only and only. I used to list them out of the papers, like I used to list them on papers, and it really helped me, because on the exam hall I could not recall any of the inner contents, like what I've written on my copy, but the topics I could memorize it so thoroughly, and I could recall it so thoroughly because I'd written it on a paper. I memorized like 3 times before the exams. Should I read the whole chapter again or just do the questions? Like just one thorough reading, like very slightly, is just enough, and then you have to do the questions. I'd say the questions are more important, and just but one at least like once you have to study the whole chapter, and after that it's just the questions. How do I study if I don't understand the chapter at all? Like you have to link the chapter to something that you have already studied before, or like a topic that you know clearly. And just link it, and just keep back and forth answering on the topic, and slowly you'll get the link of it. And then look for the frequently asked questions and why the questions have been asked and what context it has. Like the more asked questions you asked about the topic, the more clearer you will be. And if you have revised like at least 3 times, then you will already be familiar with the topic, and it won't be like the chapter you don't understand at all. Like continuous revision, continuous question answering, and like more like exposure to that question really helps. Which questions come every year, or what's the exam pattern? Okay, the repetition of questions is kind of common. Okay, when you're giving exams, repeated questions, they may come in again, but don't be totally dependent on it, because the questions, you have no idea who is making the questions. What questions come every year, they might not come. So trusting completely on those questions is not okay, and is not, you might fail if you haven't prepared for like almost, I'd say like 80% of the questions. Past year questions, if you're preparing from it, 80% you have to cover like fully. minimum 80%. Let's talk about time management and routine. What is the best study routine during exams? Okay, like a few weeks before exams, I stop, like a few weeks, I start like at least 2 weeks early. Divide my days, like this day, this subject, I totally divide it.